No yeets.
Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man, who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the yard streams for another edition of the Smackdown Breakdown, part of Pitts and Sara's wrestling show, where we take no nights off. And it's not just me, Patty P. Here in the Yada Streams, I'm joined, as always, by the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
What'd you think of that music? What the hell was that?
I don't know, but I like it a lot better. Yeah. I know. I'm like, that was, I mean, I'm not mad about it, you know?
No. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find an actual vibe for an intro song, because then you need the song to make the visual. So I can't get that vibe right now.
Yeah. I know. I don't know what our vibe is.
I don't either. I don't get, like, because
chaos.
Yeah, no shit. But that's easy. The vibe I get from us, from, we'll say, wrestling perspective, is early 2000s.
Yeah.
So that's like grungy, like move to the music,
like attitude era music.
Ruthless,
intros.
like the good Ruthless Aggression era. Like early Ruthless
Rob
Aggression
Zombie.
Era. Yeah. Oh, I hate to agree with you, but yeah.
I was like, I love Rob Zombie's like the songs they use.
Do the witches and burn.
Rob Zombie girlies, you know. I don't think he's. No. I just saw that on TikTok and I thought it was funny. Rob Zombie makes girly music. I just thought that was funny. He's girly pop. I just thought that kind of funny to me.
I've listened to way more Rob Zombie songs than I'm proud of, but yeah, we're here recording on a Sunday because shit happened. A busy weekend, Sara. Very busy weekend for your boy. Because that's the thing. We're thinking what works better, what day, Saturday or Sunday, for the show. And it's been busy. It's on Saturdays, because I work and yeah.
I remember my work trip where you're not going to be able to stream that week.
Oh, yeah. I could do something.
Not until Saturday.
No,
and once I know, probably not until we could do the Smackdown breakdown that week, but
we could do that. We're building the group now, you know what I mean, in the chat, where we can make a show. You know, you need an audience for a show, and we are very happy to have an audience. And basically, loyal people in the chat, week in and week out. We really do appreciate that. It's what keeps us going. You guys are the reason that we continue to do this week in and week out, because if you weren't here, well, it would just be Sara and I texting. And, sometimes our conversations are better for the public to be a part of. So we're already talking about the public. Let's hear from the peeps in the public. That's a good question. David, is this Trish Stratus' last run at Elimination Chamber? I don't think so.
I don't think she's going to want her last match to be a tag match, but I'm also kind of bummed because I feel like there was so much potential to happen after her match with Becky, presumably with Zoe Stark, and they didn't do that, obviously. So I'm kind of bummed though, because I feel like that was such a good retirement match for her, because her versus Becky was so good that it's kind of like, how do you top it now? How do you put on a better final match than that?
I don't think it would be really hard. It would be really hard, Sara. Sophia, I did play shot put in freshman basketball. I threw the shot put pretty damn far.
I didn't.
Nathaniel, you guys feel about a senior heel turn to join the Rock and go Dodgers? I bought more Dodgers gear. All right, good. Keep giving them money.
We're gonna talk about the Rock stuff. We'll talk about Cena and all that.
I'm saving all my Rock energy for that, because I'm gonna read against the green and be on the other side, because a lot of what I'm hearing is displeasure. I just see
Well,
impatience.
when 98% of it is negative.
I don't think 98% of it is
I
negative.
saw it in real time.
I did too.
You did not see it in real time. You did not watch SmackDown until today.
Okay.
I'm saying I was on Twitter
But it was
as
on.
it was happening. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and they're wrong. All of them. Like, it
All
doesn't matter.
98%.
Yes. Sometimes the majority can be wrong. What's up, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights? Go
What
Lakers.
up?
Go. That's what Champions. Oh, that's the old one, of course. Oh, they became friends.
Oh,
Good.
he's a
Um,
Lakers guy.
Kevin thinks that SmackDown is trash.
Kevin now, not Curvin.
Yeah, right.
I'm confused. Kevin or Curvin?
This Mandela effect. It was Curvin.
What happened? What happened, Kevin?
Hey,
Curvin? That should be his name. Curvin Kevin. Kevin Curvin.
I don't think it was trash. I just don't think it was great. I thought it was just good. Like, it wasn't as bad as everyone thinks it was. That's my stance on SmackDown. The Rock and Cody is confusing to the masses. I totally understand. Alien technology, I usually do agree with. Well, okay. In what way? If you're saying, like, let's make this into a thing and he pushes back and it's good, like, I'm for it, but yeah. And Drew should demand pay me or trade me. Well, I think there's bigger plans for Drew McIntyre. This whole Rock Cody segment the other night opens a lot of doors for things.
Drew can get involved.
There you go.
Okay.
Like, this opens the door for a lot of things that is going all over a lot of people's heads. That this Rock Cody, it's more than just, the Rock wanting the WWE champion. Like, there's deeper layers to this story where it can actually influence other other feuds and other things that he has going on as champion.
Well, since we're talking about Drew McIntyre, let's just talk about Drew McIntyre. So he opened the show to be against Jimmy Uso, and the fans are starting to get really behind Jimmy, which is pretty cool. They're getting behind the no yeets, which I'm not cool with. Okay, because get to the back of the line. All right.
Yeah, you're gatekeeping.
Yeah, we've been no yeet here. Well, I've been no yeet here.
You've been no yeet. I mean, I'm on everybody's team. I'm on everybody's team.
I just, like I said, like, people forget that no yeet was created to oppose yeet. So it's like the people cheering yeet on Monday and then cheering no yeet on Friday. It's like, guys, it's a little weird, but do you, boo? And anyway, so this match was fine, right? The problem is Drew McIntyre losing to another roll up. And that's why it's like, without getting into anything that happened later in the show, we're just talking about Drew McIntyre and what's going on with him. And it is confusing. It's very confusing because this is a guy who, if we're talking about a year ago, was going to be facing the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania, ended up winning it for 5 minutes and 46 seconds. And, then he had the best run, I would say, of his career last year with his feud with CM Punk and some of the best matches of 2024 as well. And then so you're like, all right, he's going to have an equal or better 2025. And so far that has not been the case. He keeps losing in the most obscure ways and losing to a roll up when you've got like 40 pounds on the guy that's pinning you is crazy. That is crazy work. So that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't have any, because people were taking it so negatively as this was some sort of hit on Jimmy, and it's not. It could have been anybody had pinned him,
it doesn't matter.
Where we'd be like, what is going on? It just happened that this week it was Jimmy. So I don't love it. I feel like we should be seeing Drew in a bigger story or something. Like, I think it's weird to be doing this a week before Elimination Chamber, and I'm confused.
I don't mind it. I do also wish that Drew was in more of a bigger role to promote the match, but all it goes with pivoting once again. That Drew is pivoting in with what he's got, and it's building to a crash out in the chamber. Like he's gonna lose it. Maybe we've seen roll up after roll up, maybe like CM Punk or Seth. Seth rolls him up or something. Or Logan, but it doesn't matter who. And then that's what inevitably crash out. Maybe he just takes out everybody in the chamber, and we see a darker side of Drew where he could end up doing whatever he has to do to get the World Heavyweight Championship again, and it could be to partner up with the final boss.
I know we're gonna talk about that. But
That's
yeah,
where my mind's going with it.
I'm trying to be optimistic that they're going to have like a solid plan for him, because Drew is just one of those guys that it doesn't make sense, I think, to virtually anybody when he's not being treated like a main eventer, because he is one of the top guys in the company right now, whether you cheer for him or you don't. So when he's just kind of, I don't know, surfing and you're like, okay, cool. It's like, what is happening right now? Like he should have something bigger going on, but maybe there will be more clarity, like you said, after the Elimination Chamber.
There's going to be a lot more clarity after the Elimination Chamber. It's a multi-man match that you can't do too much with it without spoiling your future plans.
Yeah. Dylan says he thinks it would be funny if Drew was eliminated first. You know what, Dylan?
Honestly, I kind of like that idea. That's funny.
No. How dare
It's
you?
not bad.
How dare you
It's
say that
not
about
bad.
Drew?
No,
Drew McIntyre.
What if he's the first eliminated, but everybody is out of the pod? Like there's no eliminations before that. He's the first one eliminated.
He gets eliminated before Damian Priest and Logan Paul.
Yeah, so we Claymores him, Claymore, and then that leads to him being so pissed he joins.
Tear their tricep.
You're enacting hate.
No,
Sarah, you're enacting hate.
I do not speak Scottish, Nathaniel. I just like to say Drew. That's all the Scottish I can say. You're muted.
That's just the bit.
Yeah, that's my bit. I just say Drew. That's it. I am very Scottish though. I think I'm like 35% Scottish. I'm like 35% Scottish. So
damn.
Hey. Yeah.
Hey Drew.
Hey Drew. Would you like to meet another Scottish lady? Okay, anyway. So things are getting awkward within the Bloodline 2.0 because Solo Sikoa is back, obviously wearing that turtleneck, Show the evidence that I'm 35% Scottish. I can.
Because she let me wear my chain and my turtleneck sweater.
Yeah, he was rocking a turtleneck instead of the Weeknd's like last album, where he's wearing.
He was giving off big Weeknd vibes.
He was
his outfits for a while.
He was abling. So obviously there's been a rift between Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and Solo Sikoa. But we don't hear Jacob tell Solo he loves him anymore. Instead, we hear Solo say it. I love you, Jacob. And it was like, oh, all right. But yeah, I don't really know what's going on here, because then they tag team later in the show, which we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. That doesn't go well. And they don't appear to be having a match at Elimination Chamber like we thought. We were like, okay, this is all going to culminate into a match. It feels like they're still trying to push this into being a Mania match. And
100%. 100% being a Mania match.
And it's like, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, it feels like the only reason why they want it to be a Mania match is for Jacob Fatu. It does not feel like this is for Solo Sikoa at all.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah,
don't you feel a little bad?
Oh, I mean, no.
I feel a little bad for Solo.
No. However you get there, you get there. Well, and this won't be a prediction, it'll be a spoiler, that their match will be better than brother versus brother last year.
I mean,
the entrances were more entertaining than the match itself, I'm sorry, but the truth doesn't care about your feelings.
Yeah, no, that's why I thought it was funny when someone was like, imagine having a shitty match and then you get
And then
rewarded
reward.
by getting
But
a world heavyweight title match the next year.
that's the IWC in a
It's
nutshell.
rough. Yeah, so I think that they still have to do some work to get us to really genuinely care about this, because yeah, people are, I guess, somewhat invested in whatever's going on because they want to cheer for Jacob, but I don't know that they care enough to be like, yeah, dude, I really want to see him versus Solo Sikoa. Like, that's gonna be a banger. Like, is it though?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I do think it will be. I don't think it'll be 5-star sleeper match of the night, but it's gonna be good where you don't want to leave your chair.
Maybe.
And the tension
Okay.
they got that's going.
Kevin has not told us if it's Kevin or Curvin. So first of all, I need that.
I love how you're still hung up on it. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Also, you want to
Here's your
see that
chair.
I'm 35% Scottish? Shows you right there.
Did you really just pull that shit up?
I had it screenshotted.
Oh.
Yeah. So
why? Do you get asked this a lot?
No. No, because the more documents and stuff that Ancestry gets a hold of, your percentages shift a little bit because they have more like evidence to be more accurate.
Oh, so they're constantly updating it to see how accurate.
Yeah, mine's shifted quite a bit because I used to be like more Irish and now I'm not. I'm way more Scottish. I know. Here we go. Okay, it's Kevin. So
only
whatever.
Kevin.
It's only Kevin. All right. Well, I'm gonna call you Kevin Curvin. Anyway, so I guess it's just me. But I think that there's probably quite a few people out there that also don't want to see this besides Pat. But I am not interested in a Carmelo Hayes and Miz partnership. I don't care if we get a funny little tagline like Mello don't Miz. No.
It's funny.
It is, but how funny is it? How long is it funny?
It's funny enough. It's funny enough to get on a t-shirt and to be sold on WWE Shop.
Do you think this is what Carmelo Hayes wants?
It's what Carmelo Hayes needs
but why
to
does he
become a future star in the business.
But
absolutely.
He was already a star. That's why
he's got to learn under the veteranship of Miz, who's notorious for being one of the most hated heels of all time. Mello comes up as working on it, so they work together in a tag team. He's going to learn.
But they're totally different heels. They're not the same at all.
But he's still one of the greatest heels in WWE history.
I don't know.
That he can absolutely learn from. That's the whole point of this. Because there's nothing for Mello to do in singles competition on Smackdown right now.
Yes, there is. Why is he not the U.S. champion?
Because Shinsuke Nakamura is U.S.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I don't dig it because this is just a random partnership just for like, ha ha ha, funny. Because they're not going to go for the tag team titles. So like, what's the point?
Yes, they would.
No, they're not. Absolutely.
Well, it could lead to a feud too.
But I don't know.
That's what it usually happens. Tag team partnerships.
Sure, but like, who wants to
ride the roller coaster?
You want to see Carmelo Hayes versus The Miz?
I think that'd be very good. Yeah, I think that'd be completely underrated.
So easy to please.
No, I just know ball because we have watched shit for years, and I know what's good and know what's shit. And
this is not
shit,
good.
But it's not. This is good.
No, it's not.
Good. I said good.
Okay, listen. This is going to be good as long as the Awesome Truth was last year, which is like 3 weeks. And then everyone's gonna be like over it. But like but not really, because like then you had to sit there and watch. I don't know. I feel like this is the part that I guess just goes back to my point of when we talked about all of the releases that they did earlier this month, and that it was like all people that they called up from NXT and never did anything with them. I don't think Carmelo's at risk, so that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is like since they brought Carmelo up, they've not really had a real plan with him. They kind of lucked out in the, best of 7 matches with Andrade. And that was only because of the reaction from the fans in the arena and online that they did that. Otherwise, they've done virtually nothing with him. And this just feels like another thing where it's like, oh, yeah, we don't have anything for him, so let's just do this. And that's like, cool. Yeah, he's on TV, or maybe he's getting like some sort of, learning whatever from the Miz. But it's like, it feels like such a waste because like this is Carmelo Hayes. Like, I just don't get why we bring people up from NXT that were multi-time NXT champions at the top of their game, and then they come up to the main roster and they get floated down to the bottom. And it's not just because they're the new guy in town or like they're younger or fresher. It's the same thing of like what they've done with Braun Breaker.
Yeah, but because it's a whole different world up in the main roster. That's why you need to
bring
learn
them up
and
if
adapt.
you don't have plans. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't have concrete stuff for them, then what are they? It's just, how is being on the main roster benefiting them? They could be down and putting on banger matches and winning championships in NXT instead of sitting in catering or doing a backstage segment 3 out of 4 times a month. I don't know.
Because you need to grow. Like, you need to be. I don't know.
See, like, I don't view this different. as like they're not. It's not like a person being called from the minor leagues. Like, they know.
I think it is, absolutely.
I don't think it is. Not in everybody's case. Because if you're like a Tiffany Stratton, she didn't work the indies. She literally has only been wrestling for like 3 years. Like, yeah, you could argue, sure. But somebody like Carmelo Hayes, like, does he really need that extra? Like, I don't know. I don't see it that way. I just think that he should be involved in something else.
Tiffany was a performance center.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you partnered her with like a veteran or whatever when she got brought up to the main roster, that makes sense. But when it's somebody like Carmelo Hayes, who spent time on the indies and whatever, like, he doesn't really.
But he's still young.
He's
still like 24 or 26.
He's not. No, he's not.
He's not 30. He's not in his 30s. Look up right now. I can tell you right now, he's not in his 30s.
He's not.
What is he, 32?
30.
Oh, wow. All right. So I'm barely wrong.
So but
barely wrong. But still, like, he still needs ventureship because you need to learn. It's a different style on the main roster.
I don't know. I just feel like it's not.
It's a whole different world up there.
A little bit, but not really.
I disagree.
They're just, the biggest difference is that they're traveling. That's what it is.
It's a little bit more than that.
Thank you, Micah, for the compliment. We saw this. Were you watching? This was like what, a year or two ago?
More. You want some more.
Oh, you want more. You want more.
More. Dylan wants more from this, Sarah.
Richard he doesn't mind the team up either. That's fine.
There you go, Jiggy.
I mean, and I get this. I just think that they need to. What I'm trying to say is, they don't have to have like plans for everybody immediately, but we also need to be like, they're the ones that are deciding who needs to be called up and who doesn't. So if you're going to specifically be like, okay, we're going to call up these people, can you at least have some sort of direction for them, even if it's not immediately? Can we have something for them to do? Because like, look at what they did with Blair Davenport. Had her relevant for like 3 weeks, and then that was it. You never saw her again. Same thing with Giovanni Vinci, or even the Unholy Union. It just feels like they didn't know what they were doing, and they just gave them a chance, and then it was taken away from them, and they didn't even do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's the what? Well, yeah, the size of the arena, Jay, is different, but that doesn't really impact the wrestler or their performance. Doesn't really do anything. Anyway, moving on to a women's match, which was Candice LeRae versus Tiffany Stratton, and this ends with Tiffany winning, obviously, but everybody in the back, I feel like, came out at this point. There's Nia and Trish and Charlotte, and there's a lot you can talk about here, okay? Because we know that this tag team match is happening. at Elimination Chamber. So they're trying to push that, obviously, and get people excited about that. I'm not really sure how excited people are about it, maybe other than my queens, Tiffany and Trishy on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
I want to look like Trish Stratus when I grow up. Okay. I don't know how this chick is
Mm-hmm.
like 50 years old and looks as good as she does, but it's not fair. But then they also want us to be reminded of the WrestleMania match with Charlotte and Tiffany. So we got that, and Charlotte came out in another crazy outfit. You know, it is what it is. I think the biggest takeaway from this was Nia. Mm-hmm.
What?
Do you not do she was getting hated on so
for
bad.
the seated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cause girl,
She's trying to protect.
I
didn't
get
go
it.
well. I get it, but like, yeah, that's a
But
botch.
so the problem is, okay, so one thing people of course bring up in this, at least when I speak about it, I'm not speaking about it in a disrespectful way. I know that other people are. So when I'm talking about this, I don't mean it in any way. Some people are saying she's trying to be more careful because she tends to sit like right on their chest. And obviously a lot of them have breast augmentations. So you want to be careful because you legitimately can pop them. And it's like, that is direct force, you know, especially the way that she'll jump. And, you know, so it's
the
like
way
even
the
more
impact hits and
yes.
everything. 100%.
And obviously female wrestlers have done that. I think China had one that busted and stuff. So it's like, I get it, right? Then you also have to be careful because you don't want to go too high because you can't sit on their chest or their throat. And then it's like, you got to be careful about landing on their stomach because you could also like take the breath out of them. So, or knock the wind out of them. So it's like, I get it. But you need the fact that this has happened more than once, I think is the problem, is that it's like maybe you need to figure out a different finisher or figure out a way that you can do this finisher that it still looks believable, but that you're not actually like hitting them with all of your weight or something, because then you're in this situation where we're talking about how bad it looks. And it's like the impact of that moment was lost. The arena was silent and everybody was just talking badly about Nia again. And it's unfortunate because I feel Nia has done a really great job for the most part since she was rehired. But then it feels like you sink so low when you have a moment like this, and it's just happening far too often for anybody to want to give her credit for the good moments that she does have.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, so that was the main thing that people were taking away, obviously. But you know, it's just a Nia Jax thing, I guess, at this point.
Kevin says, let's be honest, SmackDown crowd was dead no matter what. They weren't really a good crowd. They were only a Raw crowd. It felt like they felt like they were cheering or as loud as they were going to be for the night when the Raw came out. You know, so and everything was not like out of this world. Like the reactions, like the proper people got the proper reactions, and then the Rock segment was the Rock segment. But for the most part, they're not in the wrong.
I think this is also so many stories intertwined in that moment, you know, because they're trying to do the like Tiffany versus Nia thing, because obviously that's how Tiffany got the match, and then it's the tag team match, and then it's the Mania match. It's like a lot for people to try and care about, and
Charlotte came out.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like it's a lot. It's expecting a lot, and I don't know. I feel like Charlotte didn't need to come out. It's like we don't forget about Mania. That's not happening.
Charlotte came out because Charlotte needed her face on screen.
I guess
that's why Charlotte came out.
It didn't need to happen because like we're literally a week away from Elimination Chamber. So you'll have your time after that where you can come out every single week and do whatever.
They'll do something with her at Elimination Chamber. I have a feeling. I got a feeling.
Jay asks if we watched the Impulsive interview. With
I listened to it, didn't watch it because I listened to it driving around, but very good. I recommend it to everybody. You learn so much about Michael Cole and his impact on the industry, on the company, yeah, kind of in the industry too, but with the company, 10 out of 10 interview. And Logan Paul humbles himself a little bit in the interview too. So
I only have seen clips, and that's because I don't enjoy listening to Logan Paul. I don't.
smart dude.
I when it
Smart
comes to
dude.
wrestling, not so much.
He's
learning,
he gets a
but
lot of
he's
praise. He gets a lot of praise from a
that's
lot of important people.
that's fine. That doesn't mean that he's an intelligent wrestling person. Just because you can go in a ring and wrestle does not mean that you're well versed in wrestling. You're not. We've
Okay.
been over this. He lied about watching it as he grew up. He never did.
Okay.
He didn't. We've been over this. He didn't.
Okay.
Golly. This is, I would say, I don't know. There was a lot of people that I don't think care about Damian Priest, but
I didn't autocorrect because I don't really. I'm sorry, Damien. I'm sorry,
I
bud. I love you, but I just it's cute. You know what it is? It's like the little brother who is trying to challenge his older brothers, in the house for a top dog. Like, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna face you. It's like, okay, pal. It's good to see you win and be in the match, but after the Elimination Chamber, it's the big boys' time.
And that's the thing. So the reason why I'm saying we don't care, Damian Priest, is because there obviously is this moment on SmackDown where he goes up to Cody and is like, I'm coming for the title after Elimination Chamber, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we don't care, Damian, because you have absolutely no shot at winning the Elimination Chamber. If you did, it would be like Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. Nobody would have seen that coming, and nobody at first understands why. That would I just don't see it. I feel like Damian's going to be left off the Mania card this year. Again.
Yeah.
And
what do you mean again? He won the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania.
He wasn't on the card.
But okay, all right.
That's
we're
what
going
I'm talking about. He wasn't on the
he
card because he wasn't in a match. He cashed in, but he wasn't on the card. I don't see him in a match this year. He got moved to SmackDown, so you can't even do what everybody thought would be a Mania match at some point, him versus Finn Balor. They've already done that, so we're not revisiting that. He's not going to be going after the WWE title because whoever wins the Chamber is supposed to be doing that, and then Cody is obviously entangled in whatever's going on with The Rock, so that's not happening. They haven't done anything with him and the Shinsuke Nakamura in the US title, so I mean, I guess they could shift to that, but I don't really know why you have Damian Priest go after the US title, like when he was the World Heavyweight Champion and then is saying he wants to go after the WWE title. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's left off. And honestly, I wouldn't want to see him versus Cody at all.
No, I just don't think it should right now. I would like to see it. It would be a pretty good match.
I mean, I'm not saying
I think it'd be entertaining, but
I'm not saying that he wouldn't be good. I'm just saying, like, I don't. Oh, Damian. Well, okay, Damian was in a tag match last year. Was he?
The fucking tag team ladder match.
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, I
knew he was on Mania. I forgot.
That was night 2, right? Yeah, I forgot.
I knew he was at Mania. I was like,
that's because that match was so hard to pay attention to, guys. I don't know if it was when you were watching it at home, but
there was a lot going on in that match.
It was, yeah, and that's the thing that I like. Multi-man matches are like that, but especially multi-man tag matches. That was just so hard to pay attention to because it wasn't just that there was 4 or 5 teams or whatever. It was also that it was a ladder match and there were 2 sets of titles to go for. So it was like you're trying to pay attention to everything, but the camera can't show everything that's going on. And then we were too far away to be able to be like, oh, we don't need the camera. We can just watch the action. No, because you couldn't really tell who was who. And, like
it was tough.
It was confusing. I totally forgot about that. But he might not have a match this year. Because I don't think he'll be in the tag team scene either unless they really put him with Braun. But it's like, who the fuck wants to see that?
No, that's just alliance. I don't see that being a tag team. I just see that being allies in the back.
Yeah. Yes, the weather was very cold.
Night 1 was so cold.
It's funny because I was worried about how cold I was going to be coming from Arizona. And like, it was 70, 80 degrees, 80 something
Mhm.
degrees when I left. So I was like, oh my God, it's going to be like 40 and I'm going to be freezing. I was surprised. There were times where I was not as cold as you were.
No, I was freezing because I was only wearing like a flannel or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then a t-shirt, and I didn't bring a jacket. So I was like, oh, it was brutal. I don't know
I
why I didn't bring
know.
a jacket. I don't know what cocky asshole I thought I was.
I think you did. I think you were dressed a little bit warmer for night 2. We made mistakes on night 1.
I was overdressed for night 2.
Yeah, because then you took off like a layer.
I took off a layer and
Yeah.
I
But
bought it. Do you remember me buying that kid the hat?
yeah. No, I know. Well, and it's like
That
night
was on.
2,
That
I
was a
had
cool
a
moment.
on night 2, I think I had a beanie, I had a
Mhm.
hoodie, I had on boots with long socks. Like I was gearing up.
Ready
Like
to go.
I was warm walking to Mania because we were walking so much and the sun was out. But then once it
Mhm.
got down and it was like 37 degrees, I was like, all right, yeah,
I'm
they'll
cold.
that won't be the case this year, guys. Mania, first of all, is inside, but also Vegas in mid to late April, easily 80, 90 degrees. So
I'll be wearing shorts. I will
yeah,
be
it's gonna
wearing
be
shorts.
the complete opposite vibe of last year. I'm glad it's inside though, as long as they like air condition it,
Mhm.
because sometimes like the Cardinals arena is not well ventilated. Like I don't know if they blast the air or not. I don't It doesn't feel like they do. And I'm like, guys, it's Arizona. It's like 80 degrees, 90 degrees outside and now it feels like that inside. It's not very enjoyable to be watching football right now, but what do I know? Um anyway, moving on to Alexa Bliss. So
I like
uh
this video package. I was a fan of this.
yeah, so we're finally hearing from her because since her return, we haven't really heard anything from her. She qualified for the Elimination Chamber, but we haven't had any inkling of what version of Alexa Bliss we were going to get. It seems like they're kind of trying to combine the goddess and the Wyatt's family, the Wyatt 6 version of her, and I'm here for it. And I like this video package and what she had to say. And I would say, yeah, it kind of feels like they confirmed that she's going to be a part of the Wyatt 6, but I still feel like they're kind of teetering a line where I think that people assumed if she was going to be in the Wyatt 6 that we were going to see that version of her when she was with Bray Wyatt. And I don't think we're going to get that this time. But I kind of like that because I think a lot of people obviously enjoyed the work that she did with Bray Wyatt, but it also felt like very restricting for her. Like you kind of wanted to see more of Alexa Bliss, and not just, I don't know, the dark side this week and then the like funny funhouse side this next
Yeah.
week. Like you kind of just wanted to see Alexa and not such a character, if that makes any sense.
And that's why I don't. I see her partnering with the Wyatt Six, but not as one of the characters.
Yeah.
Like what Gacy or Loomis or even Nikki Cross is
You know what
doing.
she
What
should be
Alexa to
like?
me,
She should be
what
like the female, like the counterpart to Uncle
to
Howdy.
how that's what it seems like. Yeah, she'll
Yeah.
be more of a mouthpiece role who wrestles on her own and
Yeah.
not wrestling in tag matches with the
Yeah.
Wyatt Six, because she worked so closely with Bray and the relationship was so close that it feels stupid to not do something along the lines of her with the Wyatt Six. And even it doesn't have to be like she's in the Wyatt Six and she's the sixth member and like
Yeah.
just an alliance too. They help each other out. Maybe it's a whole you could do a whole thing where they watch out for her because of the relationship that they have with Bray. So she's not particularly in it, but they watch over her like a guardian angels, twisted guardian angels,
Yeah.
type of thing, which is fine too. Like that's the beauty of wrestling right now. You can go in so many different ways as long as you can loosely connect it and have it make sense. Then I'm for it. It's
Well,
great.
and I'm sure she kind of doesn't want to be held back by such a distinct character, you know? So she's going to want to go for the women's championship, and she's going to want to be featured in singles matches, and it's not so gimmicky, I guess. Because there is a little bit more freedom, I would say, with the Wyatt Six, because first of all, we haven't seen them in quite a while, but they're trying to honor Bray, but not like overdo it. So I think it's going to be fun to see what they do with Alexa, because it's been so long and we've kind of been waiting to see what the Wyatt Six could look like with her in it. And so this is going to be fun, I feel, because there's a lot of ways that they could go about it, and it'll be interesting to see like how she wants to get involved, because I can't imagine how emotional it probably was for her to make her return at the Rumble, not just because she had been gone for 2 years and, you know, she had a baby and that she had to wait. It's like, but then this is the first time that you're around since he passed. And
exactly. There's a whole other element to it.
Yeah. And the last time you were around, you were working with him, and probably were planning to have her back at some point to join him in Uncle Howdy. So like, I can't imagine, you know, she's kind of going through those emotions that we believe that the Wyatt Six were probably going through when they first formed and they debuted. So credit to her, because like, I don't know how they do it. I honestly don't. Dalen wants to see Alexa win the chamber. I mean, I don't see it. And Kevin wants to too. I don't see it as a bad thing. I feel like the women's chamber is so unpredictable right now, because the only one that feels like it makes sense is Bianca to face Rhea at Mania. Like that feels like a WrestleMania match to me out of all of them. And we might get a better picture of it if Bianca and Naomi lose the tag titles on Monday. Because that might kind of be like, yeah, there are people who think it's Liv too. I don't think Liv's winning. I think it's Bianca.
No, I don't think Liv's winning. That would be too not good.
Yeah.
Just not good.
Yeah, they ended that.
Backwards.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for. It'd be backwards.
Yeah. So let's get to the meat and potatoes, because this is the one that was, you know, everybody was talking
polarizing.
About this. Yeah.
Polarizing.
So The Rock announced on Thursday night that he was going to be on Smackdown on Friday. And because it was in New Orleans, everybody basically knew. They put 2 and 2 together. And it was like, okay, he's coming out to say WrestleMania 42 is coming to New Orleans. But because they announced, or we found out that matches were canceled because of his segment, and that they were going to be having a post Smackdown press conference, you were like, all right, it's going to be more than just coming out there and being like, WrestleMania is coming. Like, you knew that. So he comes out, Cody at the top of the show finds out that The Rock wants him in the ring later on.
He's pissed.
Yeah, so he pulled him out of that match. And I have so much to say, and like, I don't know where to start.
Well, I liked it, so I'll start there.
Okay. No, and
I liked it.
So this gave me vibes of the Raw after Mania, where it was just very confusing and it just awkward to watch. And I attribute that to The Rock being a last minute addition, and they give him too much freedom to go out there and not have much planned. Like, he doesn't really have a path about with like how he's going to go about saying what he wants to say. And so that's why it kind of comes off like it's dragging or awkward, because I'm sure he went out there and it's like, okay, I want to say that I want him to be my champion and whatever. But then he goes out there and says that about 18 times. He then says he wants his soul and then grabs his face. And it was like, what is happening here? What? And this is the reason, you know, one of the things that I was frustrated about the fact that he was going to be there anyway, and that he was probably going to be going after Cody, is they made up at the Netflix debut They hugged. They took shots, backstage on Instagram Live. He even did in this segment talk about how Mama Rhodes and Mama Rock became besties. So it's like, what is happening? What are we doing? And then Cody comes out and you're acting like you have beef with him kind of because you want him to do what you want him to do. Then you go in the press conference, completely Dwayne, no final boss in sight. You're talking about how you love this story and the progression of it, that you and Cody don't even need to have a match eventually. And it's just like, so there's so many ways that we could talk about this. But one thing that I think is interesting is people have really enjoyed how much more realistic, I guess, wrestling has become, or how much closer to reality in general it has become, so it doesn't feel so bigger and do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about
I
super
do.
it's
No,
like
it's
you can have a connection to it.
yeah.
But I think that what The Rock is doing is like, it's too black and white. Like, even in this segment, he comes out and he's being The Rock, like, and then he announces WrestleMania 42, right? And everybody's like, "Yay, Rock!" And then a minute later, he's like, "You guys are a bunch of STD-ridden trailer park trash," and I'm like, "What is happening?"
Because the
Like,
final boss is a switch. It's a character. That's what
but
he's like. It's a
but
character.
but the problem is that I think I would say for a lot of people, I don't want to see that switch. I want you to be in character all the time because I want it to be believable. And the thing is it's not just because um you want to believe in this like imaginary world of professional wrestling. I think when it comes to heels, it's so hard for them to make people that people genuinely hate. And so when you're then going back and forth, when people hate The Rock, me included, I don't like it when then I see like normal Dwayne. No, give me final boss all day, every day. You like, once you're out of WWE, go and be Dwayne. Go be the superstar, megastar, movie guy. But when you're around in WWE, can you still act like that asshole? Roman Reigns does it.
Yeah,
So why
he's
can't he?
because it's a switch. It's a switch like alter ego. That's
But
why.
but
That's
I
the
don't
whole
feel like
point.
they haven't presented it that way.
To me, they
They
have. It feels like this actually has been going on, and now the things that we've seen between the interactions we've seen between Cody and The Rock make sense. Like this, if you said that the Night After Mania segment between The Rock and Cody was weird, yeah, it was weird. Now this segment felt weird. Well, those two segments are connected. The Rock is jealous of Cody. The Rock wants or is upset with Cody because he took what was his or thought was his in the match against Roman Reigns. Now The Rock wants to take what Cody has in the WWE Championship, but he knows he can't defend and be the champion, whatnot. So he wants to use Cody as his puppet champion, corporate champion. We've seen this storyline progress for years in WWE with, the over beloved babyface who isn't what they usually think as the top guy, but they make him the corporate champion. You can be our champion and do what we want, and it's been recycled for years, and that's what The Rock is doing on a grand level with involving TKO and
but that
having him
was
be TKO's champion. Like I like that element because now we're talking about it online. All right, let's bring it up and let's bring it up in a smart way. This is a smart way to bring it up. And it actually makes sense for The Rock to do this because he doesn't need to get into the ring. He mentioned it in the press conference. He is right. This whole story, he does
so
not have to
wrong.
get in the ring with Cody. Well,
So
he doesn't
wrong.
have to. I believe he will, but this doesn't have to. He can use other people to do so. That to me, this opens the door for The Rock to have a little bit of his own alliance or authority of sorts to go against Cody, and that's the stories that Cody's going up against a bigger authority than just WWE. Like Triple H will be on his side even. because they're going up against TKO, who actually owns WWE. That's unprecedented because everyone and their mother knew that Vince McMahon was the sole owner of WWE for years. Now it's another group that has it. Well, we're bringing that into light. It's weird, and people are confused by it and don't like it because it's new. We have not seen anything like this. And when people see stuff that they new, don't like, and are jumping to conclusions like, oh, The Rock's taking CM Punk's main event. He's taking, all this main event. No, there's still an elimination chamber match. There's still an elimination chamber match to figure out.
He did in the past take those matches though. So
correct, but that was then. This is now, and we still have an elimination chamber match on Saturday for the #1 contendership for Cody Rhodes' WWE Championship. That's not changing. Whoever wins that match is still going to WrestleMania.
Well,
now this adds another level of what the hell's going to happen at WrestleMania.
I wouldn't completely agree about the reason why people were confused is because it's new. I think this is because a lot of what was happening didn't make a lot of sense, or it felt like a lot of
rambles. That's why.
Yes. So that is one of my issues, is that I feel like they need to have him have a better plan when he goes out there of what he's going to say, instead of letting him just ramble on until he finally gets to a point. Okay, because this was like 20 minutes and it's like, you could have said this in 2 sentences. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt unnecessary. And so I think it was because of the walking around in circles, it felt very confusing, because it was like, it would not have taken us long to get to this point had you just said it 15 minutes ago. But I think then I wrote down 3 different things
that
I wanted to ask about. So the first one is, maybe this might be another thing, because people assumed at this year's Mania, or even for next year's Mania if they really wanted to push it out, that we were going to get Roman versus Rock. So then when he comes in and he's like, Cody, I want you to be my guy, basically. Mm-hmm. I think that makes a lot of people confused, because it's like, where's Roman in this situation? How is Roman going to feel about The Rock doing this and kind of like ignoring him or not asking him to be that guy? And like, what about that dynamic? Like, we haven't really seen anything take place between them since Mania 40. There really has been nothing to indicate that their relationship has changed, other than when he came out and he did the like 1, 2, 3 or the 3, 2, 1 or whatever he did, and looked pissed off. So that's the thing, is like, Roman's absent right now. Obviously, we know he's not going to be absent at Mania, so that's not an issue. But it's like, where does Roman fit into this situation, and how did they go about putting him in this situation that it makes sense? Mm-hmm. You know, I think that's like a huge part of why people are confused, and a lot of people were hoping that was what was going to be his segment on SmackDown, was that it's going to be something about him and Roman. And I don't know if it had to do with because Roman's not there, or they really don't want to touch that because they're not doing it this year. I don't know, but I don't know. I think it's unsettled.
To me, it seems that we aren't gonna have a lot of different shit than what we're seeing be talked about already at Mania. Like, this just doesn't. This seems like it's The Rock is interfering more in Cody's title reign than WrestleMania itself.
So it could be argued that like his way of seeking revenge is by trying to ruin his title reign.
Yes, ruin it in the sense, or like
strip him of it or something.
If he doesn't play ball with him and accept his offer, then yes, he is going to do everything in his power to
come to the dark side, or I'm gonna make sure you lose your title.
And who do you need to strip him of his title? Because technically you can't realistically,
well, he won't be stripped. I just meant
that's no, no, like no, I know what you mean. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, great use of the strip, because he would want to strip him, but Triple H would step in and say no, whatnot. So what's The Rock do in his power? He finds someone else. Boom, you have authority type guys. You have a Drew McIntyre.
Hold on. Okay, so before we get there, I want to talk about the idea of corporate Cody. Because
corporate Cody would be something.
So I saw it in the chat. You guys are talking a lot, so that's why I haven't gotten to your comments yet, but don't worry, we will get to your comments. So a lot of people were talking about, after this segment, what could this mean and what is Cody's decision going to be? The Rock is giving him until Elimination Chamber to decide. And there is room, I think, to explore the idea of Cody taking him up on his offer, right? If you were to ask me outright, do I think Cody is turning heel? No. I don't see it happening.
I would like it to, though. It'd be kind of cool.
Eventually, yeah, because
Eventually, I'd like to see it.
If you are a long-term fan of Cody Rhodes, then you were a fan of Cody as a heel. He was a heel like 90% of his entire professional wrestling career. So him being a good guy is kind of newer for those of us who have been around for the last 17 years. But corporate Cody is like kind of intriguing because if you think about the way that he came back to WWE, right? He was Vince McMahon's like hand-picked opponent for Seth Rollins. So that's corporate-y, which we don't have to mention Vince. I'm not saying that, but if we're talking about a history of it, right? He also was then going up against the longest reigning champion of the modern era in Roman Reigns, and he had like everybody in the back defending him, trying to help him when, you had Brock Lesnar raising his arm after their match and like giving him his stamp of approval. Everybody in the back, everybody in like corporate world or whatever of WWE has been very supportive of him. So it feels like a natural progression for him to get to that point of being like, yeah, I'm the suit and tie guy, already is the suit and tie guy, right? I represent this company. I'm the face of the company. I'm where I deserve. We saw glimpses of him being a little heelish in that match with Kevin Owens. I mean, the way that he threw him through that ladder and stood over him like that. So it feels like it wouldn't be too big of a stretch for that to happen. And this, him being corporate Cody by pairing up with The Rock, also feels like, yeah, it's kind of questionable just given what has happened over the past year. Obviously, what led to WrestleMania 41 or 40, but it also feels like that makes him even more hateable in a way, I guess, because he made it such a big deal that, The Rock took his match away. Then he gets that match back and he wins the title. And now he's going to go pair up with that guy and like take advantage of the fact that he's the, chairman of the board or whatever the hell he is. I don't know. It's intriguing. Slightly.
It is intriguing. I would like to see Cody in like a little bit of a douchebag run, as corporate, like get what I want, like get what I deserve, and lean into that story about how he finally has got his time and the fans have loved him and whatnot. But now it's time to do what's best for him. Like, you could do so many different things. I will say he's not going to turn. Even though he's going to turn heel or may turn heel, I don't see the blonde hair going away.
But I also don't know that we have him turn heel a month before Mania.
They're not going to do that. It will be at Mania, if anything.
It might, that would be so friggin' wild, dude. If like last year he's out there on the shoulders of his peers celebrating taking down Roman Reigns, and then next year he's turning.
Yeah, like, oh my God, that would be unreal.
2 huge Mania moments for a guy that never had a Mania moment. Like back to back iconic moments at WrestleMania when he literally got like cut from Mania cards in the past. Like that would be gigantic.
That would be wild. That would be insane. That would be insane.
Yeah. I don't know. So if it's not corporate Cody, because there is a good chance about it not being Cody Rhodes that decides to partner with The Rock. The other people that have come to mind, I think, with anybody else that has been kind of like trying to dissect this segment and who might be a better fit or who might be more intriguing. I'm not even going to address the John Cena rumors because
why?
I don't think it's happening.
Oh, I do.
But okay, let's talk about the John Cena thing. I guess people have said, okay, it's going to be John Cena because we saw some shades of, I don't know, heelish like behavior from him in the
Tendencies.
Royal Rumble press conference. And I mean, yeah, I felt like that was definitely not what we had been seeing from him when he had been talking about his retirement tour and him being like, I have to be the main event, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But to me, turning Cena now makes absolutely zero sense for many reasons. One of which is the timing. If this weren't his retirement tour, maybe we could explore it. It's not happening. Secondly, if you do turn him heel, he's not going to be heel. He's not going to be a heel at this point. He absolutely people will still cheer for heel.
I'm just I got into it my fandom.
No,
I
and
would
I
like
get
to
it.
see. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
he hasn't.
it doesn't from a business standpoint. It doesn't make sense.
It just, yeah, it's, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if this were like 5 years ago, and so you knew maybe he had 5 years left in him, you know what I mean? Like, maybe, but I think that when we're talking about 2025, John Cena literally only has a few matches left on his career, like, or for when he's deciding to call it a
Yeah.
career. It just doesn't seem likely to me, as interesting as it might be. Okay, like, we haven't seen John Cena as a heel in like 22 years or so, something, 21 years. So I get
Hmm.
it. Trust me, I was in love
I
with
would
heel
love to
John
see it.
Cena. Thugonomics John
We
Cena
all
was
were.
the love of my life. Okay, I just don't see
Mm.
it. So if it's not going to be John Cena, the other two that come to my mind, Drew McIntyre or CM Punk. CM Punk has been my pick to win the Elimination Chamber anyway, just because I felt like, okay, we're gonna get him versus Cody. That just felt like the
Hmm.
most
That
intriguing
feels
match.
inevitable. Like
Yeah,
that's what felt most inevitable.
yeah, but I do think Punk being that guy for The Rock is so interesting. Probably the most interesting out of all of them because of their history. We know that The Rock taking away his WrestleMania match is like part of the reason why Punk initially left 10 plus years ago.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
know that he's had harsh feelings against The Rock. And
That's why it could be Punk. I could see it be Punk too.
yes, because how interesting. It's like, if you can't beat him, join him. Right. And like, how contrasted, I don't know if that's a word, would it be for Punk, who's always been anti-establishment, anti-corporate, I hate the people in the back, eventually comes back, is totally like employee of the year, there's no
Hmm.
complaints about him,
There's no complaints.
buddy with Mr. Triple H, and then he becomes the corporate buddy of The Rock. I find that to be fascinating, honestly. I'm not saying I love it, but I'm saying I find it fascinating because of the history, because of like the character evolution that CM Punk would have. I don't know.
It would be so interesting because if Cody were to say no,
Mm-hmm.
and you have Punk be the guy to join the Authority, could you imagine the type of pipe bombs and shit he'll say to the fans about how they're supporting Cody and not him, and how
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, like that's uh, ranking it, that I would rather see Punk over Cena in this role.
Yeah.
But I also want to see Drew McIntyre in that role too.
I know. So I think that they would be able to boo Punk more than they would be able to boo Cena and possibly even boo
Correct.
Cody. I think
Yeah.
I don't know. Him and Cody it'd be interesting because I think people could boo Cody if they felt very betrayed. But I do think the one who fits the mold the most is Drew McIntyre. And that is because if we, again, connection here, if we talk about when he got a new contract from WWE, he made it very well known that The Rock was a big person involved in getting that done.
Mm-hmm.
He said when he was out for months after his match at Hell in a Cell with CM Punk, only one person called to check in on him, didn't say who it was. Could have been The
That's what I think. It could have been The Rock. That's what I'm thinking.
Rock.
It could have been.
He has been trying to take down the bloodline for years at this point. Obviously, just got pinned by Jimmy. He's been having issues, obviously, with Roman and with Jay. Who better to side with than the guy that doesn't appear to be messing with Roman Reigns or the bloodline right now? Because if you really talk about the bloodline and The Rock, they couldn't be further apart right now. You haven't seen any.
They're two different things.
Yeah, they're two totally different entities at this point. And how easy would it be for people to boo Drew? They already do.
My God, he would have the entire place booing him out of the building. And that would be awesome.
Who better to, as a heel? I'm not saying that Cody will for sure lose the title at Mania. I'm not saying that. However, if we're talking about, the possibility of that happening, I could see it being Drew.
Yeah, I could. I really could.
Because we were saying, when it was Kevin Owens, we were like, okay, anybody at this point, there's nobody better on SmackDown to beat Cody Rhodes right now for the title than Kevin Owens. That didn't happen. I don't know if Drew or whoever.
He's the next guy. If someone's going to do it, it could be Drew.
Yeah, and it feels like that's
well-deserved. And well-deserved.
So that's the thing that I'm thinking about too, is like The Rock can be pissed about what happened last year, because also he would be pissed at Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins got involved in the match and helped Cody win. So why would he not be like, yeah, F Seth Rollins when it comes to, Drew McIntyre? I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities.
There's a lot.
And with the star power in the Elimination Chamber match, that's what makes it all the more confusing about predicting what's going to happen, who's going to win, how it's going to happen, why it's going to happen. Is Cody going to say yes or no to The Rock? If he says no, who's going to say yes? Like, there's so many things that are coming out of it. And the thing is even if you took The Rock out of this situation, it would still be almost as unpredictable. So, I don't know. But this could be like the surprising element that makes Mania a little bit more interesting than what we had been thinking heading into Elimination Chamber, because I think a lot of us had been complaining about what the Mania card was looking like, and this could really shift that in our favor, which is exciting. All right, let's see. I'm trying to go back because there's a lot of comments. Alien Technology thinks that The Rock is bipolar. He definitely was coming off like that. Jackson says, in my opinion, this segment connects to Raw on Netflix. Their Raw on Netflix interaction, that's why it made sense. It's basically Austin and McMahon storyline when Austin became his corporate champion. Yeah, I saw people saying that.
That's exactly what it is. That's what I mean. Like, and Vince did it with Cena during Punk. Like, you're going to be my corporate champion so that CM Punk doesn't take the title.
See, and that's the thing is, like, thinking about that, it's like, who could be this era's Stone Cold Steve Austin? Not like trying to impersonate him, but like,
like authority, rebellion.
To get that type of reaction. It's like, and Stone Cold had already been established. Like, he was always a tweener. It just like depended on the week if you booed or you cheered him, but you always knew that he was going to kick ass.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's not really anybody that's an equivalent to that. They can't be, and I'm not saying they can, but like, I feel like that feels more like Punk. That feels more like Drew. I think that Cody could get there, but I just don't know that that's the right move right now. Like, I don't know. Because I've said that I feel Cody could be this era's John Cena, where we don't ever see him turn heel. It's possible. Micah agrees. He thinks that it will be Drew.
Okay. Do you want to step up and say yes to The Rock?
Yeah, I think it's going to be between Cody, Punk, and Drew.
Or Kevin Owens.
Well, Kevin's not in the Elimination Chamber, though. Alonzo says he did tell Cody to not hurt me again. Whatever that meant the first time, because we didn't really get an explanation of that other than winning the title.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson thinks that it's going to be Cena or Punk becoming the Rock's champion. His theory is that Punk, because of the favor, also because of the Rock, is the only guy that he could get to put him in the main event. Potentially. Alonzo doesn't want to see Cody go heel yet. Let's see. Okay.
I don't know.
Cody or Micah says y'all say y'all want Cody to turn heel, but y'all are only going to say that because you're bored of babyface Cody. If he turns heel, y'all will probably get bored of that too. WWE should not do it. He's over. Hey, sir. Fickle fans exist. That is very
Fickle
true.
Fans are the worst.
I'm the one who loved Cody Rhodes since he was in Legacy, when he was dashing, when he was undashing. I actually wasn't on board with him being a babyface. So it's because I loved him as a heel.
So there you go.
Yeah. So
I'm
gonna love Cody no matter what. He's that guy to me. It's like John Cena. Like, I don't care that everybody hated John Cena when I was cheering John Cena because everybody was bored of him. John Cena is my guy. So Dylan says his money is on Punk. Kevin thinks that what if is Cena? It's possible.
It is possible. So we're not saying it's not.
See, but Dylan said he's not booing. See, that's the thing, is I don't know that they would boo him, because especially if he won 17. How do you boo Cena winning 17? It doesn't matter how he won 17, right?
No, the history book. It doesn't. The history books don't care how you got there.
Yeah. Jackson says that he thinks it's Punk and that he's going to use the favor, the only one who puts him in the main event. And then you'll probably see Punk versus Cena night 1, winner faces Cody night 2. Interesting. Micah thinks that Drew makes more sense. Dylan thinks it could go deeper with Drew because of the bloodline stuff. Yes, I think it just all depends on like what they end up doing with Kevin, why do you always say that I'm a liar? Do you want me to show you pictures? I literally have a paper bag framed that was signed by Cody in 2011. I got paper bagged at a Smackdown. I stood in line to meet him when he was dashing Cody Rhodes when there was only 3 people ahead of me. I went through the line twice. I have 2 pictures with him. I also met him in 2011. Also met him in 2012. Also met him in 2013. Also paid like $200 and something to meet him at WrestleMania 40. So, boy bye. That's all I gotta say. Boy bye. Moving on, we have just a couple things left since most of the conversation was going to be around The Rock. We saw the tag team title match between DIY and my boys. Pretty deadly. And it was going to be a great match, which I was excited about because I was like, oh my God, my boys are finally getting a tag team title match. My life is complete. And of course, because I think that they're trying to make the Street Profits bad guys.
Yes, 1,000%. Yes.
Isn't this insane? Like, if we really think about this, we were saying, okay, they were trying to make them bad guys when they had Bobby Lashley around. We were like, all right, maybe this is going to work. And it completely flopped. How is it working more now?
No, it is work. That's the thing, Sarah. Like, yeah, it's working. Like, in kayfabe, I do not like the Street Profits. I hate them. They ruined the tag match last night. They keep pushing this woe is me narrative of we deserve the tag team titles. And, as much as the next guy, it's like, yeah, I know we do. They're doing exceptional work right now. And even though they did ruin what was a good tag team match, it makes me excited for the tag team pictures. So that's a win.
Yeah. And it's just funny because they were doing what made sense to get them hated when they were with Lashley. It just wasn't working. And I would assume that part of it is because Bobby Lashley feels like a guy that people won't boo. That's what it feels like. It's just like people won't boo him.
Yeah, you can't boo Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. I also think with the Street Profits at that time, they hadn't really been around. Like, we hadn't seen them that much. And so people were excited that they were back on TV. And so they were just cheering them. And it was like, guys, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's not the reaction. So them coming out and just beating up everybody, Okay, it's working right now. What I did think was interesting, though, is technically Pretty Deadly were the baby faces in this match. And they did get some more cheers. I'm not saying that it was loud.
No, they did.
I'm not saying that it was like, oh my God, they're the face of the tag team division. I'm not saying that. But the fact that some of you guys say that they get no reaction, I heard the cheers. I heard the
I
cheers.
did hear cheers.
And people
And
weren't
Wade Barrett was on commentary. He's
and
gonna put them
people weren't
over 8
yes,
days a
yes.
week.
And people were not thrilled with them attacking Pretty Deadly. With the Street Profits attacking Pretty Deadly.
They weren't, which is good. It's good
So
progress.
I am so excited. So I think that this is all just inevitably leading to another multi-man tag team match for the tag titles at WrestleMania for SmackDown, at least. And I assume it's going to be the Street Profits. I think the Street Profits are going to win. It feels like they're putting so much effort into them right now that it feels like it's inevitable, which is fine, right? Because if the Street Profits win and they're heels, cool. You're going to go lose them to Pretty Deadly. That's what I need.
We do need Pretty Deadly to have the tag gold for at least a little bit.
Yes.
I believe they deserve it.
They were multi-time NXT tag champions. Okay. They're legit. Not to mention, they're good in the ring. My nephew is a fan of the Yes Boys. That's what he calls them, the Yes Boys. And that move that Kit does where he like goes between the first and second rope and he like goes out and then he like swings in. Right when he did that, he was like, "Whoa!" And then my sister was like, "Yeah, buddy, they do really cool stuff, you know, like."
Yeah.
Thing like once they actually get in the ring and show them, it was cool. So I'm excited if that's the direction that they're going to go in, because I think that, you know, Pretty Deadly are the type of guys that are so entertaining. They're like Chelsea Green. It's like even if you're supposed to hate them, you kind of can't because they're funny.
Look at Chelsea Green last night. She got maybe 5 minutes, and it was fantastic 5 minutes of television.
Yeah.
And it pushed her character forward.
And that's what Pretty Deadly do. Like they might only have a backstage segment, but you're laughing or you remember it because it was like, what the hell was that? Yes. What were they, you know, like, so I don't know. The tag team division is definitely heating up. We saw the Motor City Machine Guns come out here as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's those 4 teams or they maybe throw in a 5th. But this would mean 2 babyface teams, 2 heel teams. So I guess that could work. But I'm into it. As long as we see Pretty Deadly win the tag titles before 2025 is over. Okay. And if you guys, if they do that, I want you guys to just be really happy for me, because I've been sitting here preaching about Pretty Deadly for the past, since we've done this for what, 2-3 years at this point. So anyway, then moving on to the main event, which, you know, a main event match, I guess, whatever. Anyway, so it was the tag match that was supposed to be a 3-on-3 match. Man. Yeah. And it ended up being Braun Strowman and Damian Priest versus Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, which was interesting because, you know, earlier in the night, Solo Sikoa confessed his love and admiration for Mr. Jacob Fatu, and it was not reciprocated. We did not hear, "I love you, Solo." We heard, "No, I love you, Jacob, I love you." And I was like, oh. Me, you know, that was me. Yes. So this match just goes accordingly. You know, they're trying to set up more between Jacob and Solo, obviously, because of the accidental super kick on the wrong person, which leads to Braun and Damian winning. Yay, my favorite tag team of all time, Braun Strowman and Damian Priest. I'm so excited to watch them again.
No, it just furthers the tension in the bloodline.
Yeah.
Solo hit Tama with the Samoan spike, and now Jacob hitting Solo with the super kick. And the look that Jacob Fatu made after he hit the kick seems like it might have been on accident, but he's not regretting it.
He was fine with it. He was like, you know what? Like, I didn't want to do that. No, I didn't mean to do that, but like, I don't care that I did.
But it happened.
Yeah.
And that's what this match is about. And Damian Priest and Braun Strowman win. Good guys win to send the crowd home happy. It was a good main event. It did everything it was supposed to.
I hate the idea of sending the crowd home happy, because not all of us would go home happy.
You know what? You know
You know,
what?
some of us
Don't.
want to see the bad guys win, and that sends us home happy.
No,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
imagine going to your first wrestling event you see John Cena in the main event in his hometown,
I'm not
and
talking
he
about John
loses to
Cena.
the bad guy.
I'm not talking about
He
that.
loses to the enemy.
I'm talking about like a match like this.
Yeah,
But
still.
also not I'm also talking about somebody that's not untouchable right now, like John Cena or Cody Rhodes. That's what I mean. Obviously, they're going to have them win. I'm not saying that they wouldn't. I'm just saying in general, I don't think that needs to be a thing. That's all. Gosh, sorry. Let's see. Micah says Punk versus Cena Mania Night 1 would be awful. That would tarnish their classic matches they had from 2011 to 2013. Boy, that is when I was going to so many shows. So I know what you mean because I was there for Summer of Punk. Don't even worry about it. But yeah, I mean, they're going to get into a match at some point. It's probably going to be at one of the like meaningless pay-per-views that like no one really cares about, but like just for nostalgia's sake. But also needs to like make sense, I think. And that would work if it was corporate Punk, because I don't think that they're gonna want babyface and on babyface Punk and Cena. I don't know that anyone really wants to see that.
No, yeah, I don't know. I would like anytime CM Punk and John Cena are in the ring, I'm gonna be into it. So.
Dylan says it's gonna be a great 4-way. The Street Profits, DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, and our boys. I want our boys. Don't even get it twisted. Wait. I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to. Okay.
Yes, boy. Yes, boy. Yes, boy. Yes, boy. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Yeah. Just pretend that those titles on their shoulders were not the NXT tag titles. But they were the SmackDown tag titles. I mean, Street Profits are fine to win as long as they remain heels, and Pretty Deadly and then they win them eventually. Micah says, Sara, you're very good at this podcast. Think you make very good topics and make sense of what you were trying to say. Thank you so much, Micah. Sometimes I think I have a good idea, and then you say something that I don't think about that shuts my idea down. LOL. I don't always have
conversations.
Yes.
Welcome to conversations.
Look at how often me and Pat don't agree.
A lot.
You know what is really interesting, and I'm not going to name who they're talking about because I'll tell you off air because I'm not trying to shit on anybody publicly. But I saw another podcast live show group that was being talked about on Twitter, and I kept seeing people's biggest gripes in the comments or in the replies to the tweet that they are boring to listen to because they agree on everything.
You and I?
No. A different group that I'm not naming.
Okay.
But I thought that was interesting because I do think that is a thing. Like if you agree on everything, why would that be interesting to watch?
It's not. Yeah, exactly.
So I just thought that was interesting because like we don't agree on everything.
No, we don't.
Yeah. Dylan also likes the heels. Let's go. Oh my gosh, what? Slam Tackle TV also loves Pretty Deadly, but they've been stagnant on the main roster. They need a leader like Seth Rollins or Tyler Breeze or just a fresh character. Like, guys, what the F are we doing? Okay, I agree. The problem is they were cursed by injury because when they first got called up, they got that like brilliant video package, where they're like baking and being like, you throw a little bit of Kit Wilson and this.
Yeah.
Great. And then everything every week was so good. Their matches, their backstage segments, so great. And then Elton got messed up because of our guy, Ridge the Fridge. And then ever since then, it's just kind of been like a bumpy roller coaster where it's like, oh, they're back. Okay. And now they're off TV. Now they're in backstage segments. Okay. It's like, it's been very bumpy. So that is very frustrating. I'm hoping though that because they've been pretty much consistently on TV for the past like month or over a month, since DIY won the titles, and now that they went for the tag titles, I would like to think that we're going to see like more with them, and that they will be on the Mania card this year instead of just being the like presenters of the tag match.
Of the match, yeah.
Which I still think was significant, even though I would say
I was its own way, it absolutely was significant. Yeah, absolutely.
It was a long introduction. It wasn't just like, oh, Pretty Deadly are here to say, here's a tag match, you know. Kevin says Triple H sees Pretty Deadly like a good talent to put people over, which is great, but they also need to have their time, you know.
They are good, but they do that job very well.
They do, and that's great, but like they also are not even 30. And like they deserve to have tag. Neither one of, I think, they're 26 and like 27. They're like so
they're
young.
my age.
Yeah. So I want to see them get a tag title run. And if it's as heels, I don't care. I just want to see them. But anyway, I appreciate all the Pretty Deadly love. I am not used to this, guys. Every other time I've ever talked about Pretty Deadly here, I've always gotten comments about how much they suck and how bad they are and this and that. So I appreciate the change of heart. At least for today, you know. But anyway, that was Smackdown.
That was Smackdown, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Smackdown Breakdown. We'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
Manager.
Yep.
Like, yes, boy.
I need to meet them at Mania so bad, and they'll just be like, "I love you."
Oh, we will.
We will. But they're going to be like a Saturday or Sunday morning thing. That's the problem. Unless they're on Mania.
They will be. They're going to be in that ladder match. Absolutely would be.
They go on Monday. If they go on Monday, I'll buy tickets just to go on Monday for them. We'll have to look and see. But anyway.
That was Smackdown. We'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind. Same time. Stop Final Boss. We just talked about you.
Final Boss.
Check it out.
We're about to end.
Hit that subscribe button and bell to know every time we go live. And follow us on TikTok. 551 followers at the moment.
Hold on one sec. We're kind of gonna mini vlog, kind of. We're going to be we'll post on TikTok and stuff, and then maybe we will maybe we'll edit some clips together or something and put them in a YouTube video, but we're definitely going to be like active on social media.
Very.
Yeah, especially because we're active. For right now, unless something happens, which we're not going to talk about, but right now we're not physically going to WrestleMania, so we'll be able to get like a lot of content that way also. And before we go, I just want Slam Tackle says, how would y'all feel about a WrestleMania in Pittsburgh?
No.
I'm gonna call it Heinz Field forever. 68,000 seats, 68,400 seats without the field, correct? Like without the seats on the field, because then it could hold more. Or is that with the seats on the field? I don't personally want to go to Pittsburgh just because it's gonna be freezing cold, but I think it's going to be interesting to watch what WWE does with picking stadiums for Mania, because they might be trying to do more indoor stadiums. Because of how cold Mania 40 was. Is like even the talent were complaining. So
every time they do WrestleMania in a cold weather region, there's always issues with the weather, and they have to bring in heaters for the rings.
Yeah, and that wasn't enough because, I mean, it was literally like 37 degrees, I think. But when Mania was over, it was like 37, 36 degrees.
It was so cold.
Yeah.
It was so cold.
And I mean, it's not bad when they do an outdoor stadium on the West Coast because it's earlier in the day. So it doesn't get as cold. Because Mania is going to start at like 3 or 4 p.m. on the West Coast. So that's like for Vegas, it's going to be like 3 or 4 p.m.
Yeah.
So it'll be a lot warmer, but I don't know. We'll have to see what they do. But yeah, sorry. I just wanted to make sure we got those questions. Final Boss. We might be doing more Sundays here and there. We'll see. But yeah, I try to update it as soon as we can.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. That's why we got hit that bell notification to know when we go live and when we post anything from shorts, other clips from the show, and new stuff that is obviously going to be approaching or going to be happening in the year 2025. So till Tuesday, thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you could do it. All you gotta do is try. See you on Tuesday.